So here we are. We're live. We're live.
Hey.
Back to talk Star Trek for yet another week. I'm Nicole. I'm here with Gary.
Hello.
Off screen as usual because he's doing fine actually, but he needs a haircut. That's the main reason that he's off screen. So perhaps we will see Gary when he is groomed in the future. And across the city of Toronto, we have Green or RC. Hello, how's it going?
How it goes yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. I just found out actually today that it is the anniversary from 1981 of the bathhouse raids on February 5th and the protest at 52 Division on February 6th. So today in queer history in Toronto. Yeah.
I did not know.
Yeah. So that's what happens in 52 Division, which has always been fun times in Toronto. There were raids on several bathhouses that where gay men like to hang out. A bunch of people were arrested and treated really, really terribly as they were in the 80s. It was not a fun time. Actually, we've been watching The Americans and talking about how the 80s in The Americans and shows like that are kind of like 80s light. Like you don't see anybody wearing horrible blue eyeshadow or giant hair, and you don't see a lot of shoulder pads. You don't see a lot of the horrible racism. And
I've never seen the Americans. My only touchstone for like that sort of retro 80s would be Stranger Things, and like Stranger Things is also very 80s light, although like deliberately so.
I think they all are because it's scary. When you look at the pictures from the time,
Well, yeah.
It's actually a great joke and conspiracy theory, that Netflix cartoon about 1980s nostalgia.
Yeah. That it just it's been made to be like
they basically like gas a town to live permanently in the 80s, and they're always talking about all the cool shit from that time.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, there was nothing cool from the 80s.
No, there isn't.
That's the thing.
Funny because the people who are present.
I'm sorry to disabuse you if you're someone who's really into 80s nostalgia and did not live through the 80s. There was nothing cool in the 80s. We all thought we were going to die.
Well, the 80s was.
if it wasn't going to kill you, if it wasn't nuclear war, it was pesticides, and if it wasn't that, eventually it was AIDS.
Or the toys that they gave you.
Or the toys that they gave you, yeah. Lawn darts.
Lawn darts.
Good old lawn darts. I mean, I'll say one thing. There was a lot of great fucking music in the 80s.
Oh my god, that's great. That was something I was ranting about too. Yes. Euphoria.
Like there was nothing cool about. I was very young for the 80s because I was born at the very start of the 80s, so I have only the vaguest memories for most of it. But yeah, like most of the 80s sucked. But man, the music was top fucking notch. Like everything from like so much so that like modern music is still extremely influenced by 80s music in a way that like modern music is more influenced by 80s music than they were by like 90s music or by like even 70s music.
So then maybe you've got a position because she was a little irritated or confused with Euphoria right now.
Yeah,
of the soundtrack.
The show Euphoria sounds like my high school dances. It sounds like a cross between like my parents' like radio station and my high school dance. And I feel like primarily I've been listening to some stuff about it, and they said they think the music serves the story, though perhaps not accuracy about what teens are listening to, because I don't feel like teens are listening to certain things. So, yeah, and if it's
saying maybe they are. The stuff that's getting produced.
I don't know if they're influenced by it. Like maybe there's an argument for using it. I just don't feel like kids are listening to stuff that I listened to in high school.
They like a lot of them are, and they're not just listening to that. But if you talk to like a lot of teens about what they're listening to, they'll give you like a lot of 80s musicians, but that alongside like things like Doja Cat and Lil Nas X, like quite frankly, Doja Cat and Lil Nas X are super influenced by 80s music as well.
Well, I mean, it's great because like you have a scene where a character that everyone hates gets the shit kicked out of him, like just a brutal scene, and like a brutal, one of the most brutal like beat downs I've ever seen. But I loved it because I'm like, yeah, kick this guy's ass more. I don't care how bad it looks, just beat the shit out of him. And then the needle drop at the end of it was "I Just Died in Your Arms" by Cutting Crew, and I'm like, that is a perfect song for this, right? Like, because like the girls are crying, they're upset, it's a New Year's party, you know, they're 16-year-olds, right? But I'm like, also, that's like that was retro when I was in my 20s.
Yeah, like
But it's perfect at the same time.
It came out, I believe.
Yeah, but it's perfect at the same time. So I don't know. But also at the same time, we're not here to talk about modern music or modern TV. We're here to talk about or gay music, which is, you know, kind of Cutting Crew, I guess. We're here to talk about Star Trek and sci-fi.
Right.
And
I also can't talk about Euphoria. I have not seen Euphoria.
Oh my god, don't even. I would say it is not your show. There are for sure queer people in it. There are trans people in it, but I'm saying no.
It's not something I need to. It's not a show I need to watch. Like
no, yeah, it's awkward. Yeah, I gotta say
it's like I mean, most of the people on my Twitter are younger than me, so my Twitter feed is nonstop Euphoria, and here I am tweeting about Peacemaker.
I gotta watch Peacemaker. We gotta watch
Peacemaker.
We gotta watch it.
It's all retros 80 music, but in Peacemaker's case, it makes sense because the dude's like 40.
John Cena, like look at John Cena's my age.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
like he's young, like a little bit younger than me, maybe. But John Cena like basically listened to all the same music I did growing up.
Yeah,
that is why he's the rapper he is. Gary's like, stay on topic. Stay on topic, Gary.
I'll just say this: Peacemaker soundtrack is all hair metal.
Gary's our producer now, I think. Gary's become our producer. Okay, so we were talking about before we came on stream a little story about James McAvoy and how he was asked about playing young Picard. And he's like, I'm too old to play young Picard. I'm basically the same age as Patrick Stewart was when he started playing Picard. Are you kidding me? And that still blows my mind a little bit every time I think about it.
It's true. It's kind of funny, right? Because like Picard always seemed older, even though you're like, really, he was 40?
Yeah.
And then he managed to maintain that look for a long.
Yeah.
Right?
That's just like it's like the guy Paul Hyung Sung Lee from Kim's Convenience. Yeah, he's younger than Daniel Day Kim.
Also, was he not a pilot in The Mandalorian?
Yeah, the pilot in The Mandalorian. Yeah,
and in Boba Fett.
Oh, and
seen him in that yet.
We're behind, but he's gonna play Uncle Iroh, and they're all like, "Oh, I don't know." He's like, "How can they be brothers?" Daniel Day Kim and him, and
like perfect.
I know he's perfect for Iroh, right?
Guy.
And so they're like, "Oh, how can he be like brothers with Daniel Day Kim?" And they're like, "Daniel Day Kim is like 4 years older than he is."
Yes.
Yes. And Daniel Day Kim is gorgeous, so I mean, like you, fine. But
doesn't
anyway.
matter. They can be the same family. It's pretty easy.
So I'm just doing some math here. So I was 5 years old when TNG premiered. That does
wow.
That does actually track.
Wow, when did it premiere?
87. I thought it was 89, but it's saying 87 here.
I was 12.
Yep.
I was 12. That makes sense. I was very excited.
Yeah, I was 9.
I was 12.
So let's do some quick math here. So if Patrick Stewart is 81 now, how old would he have been in 87?
Don't make me do that.
Gary,
right, this is your power.
Sorry, how old is he right now?
How old is he now?
81. He's 81.
81.
Okay. And so we're trying to get to 87.
1987.
So that's
So yeah, he would have been 40 something.
46.
46, yes.
There you
No,
go.
that's
Yeah,
James
46.
McAvoy. There you go.
James McAvoy is 42, so yeah.
Basically, yeah, there you go. Not too much difference. He could play younger Picard.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we were talking about this because one of the rumors that we have that I did not tweet about is that basically that Picard there are no announcements that Picard is done at season 3 done. So because Stewart only wanted a limited sort of series.
Like because dude's 81. Like
Yeah.
let him rest.
Well, also, there's a lot more TV being done that way, right? So I don't think it's like outside the realm to say, do we really need 7 seasons of something?
Yeah, I mean, and we've got confirmation of other Star Trek shows that are going on to like Disco is going on to season 5 for sure. I'll be very surprised if Disco doesn't hit 7 seasons. I'll be very surprised if it doesn't. So they don't need Picard to go the distance. They've got other shows.
No. Well, and plus Paramount might want him to come back to reprise the role in a movie or a cameo on another show at some point.
Yeah.
Right? So better to just keep him happy than try and force something.
And yeah, you were saying earlier,
I could easily see him making the jump to Lower Decks because he already does American Dad. He likes that sort of like he would fit very well in Lower Decks. And
as you were saying earlier, RC, I mean, he is 81, so it's kind of understandable if he's not super interested in doing a show constantly all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And like
the hours are brutal. The shooting hours, they're not kind of people.
Yeah. Oh, we were talking about we were also talking about Marvel and how like he has allegedly declined Disney to come back as Professor X for Marvel shows.
Yeah.
I mean, Disney can move a lot of money, so that may change, but so far it looks like he's a no for Disney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so this was the news that I brought to RC today, and that is that there is apparently a Starfleet Academy series in the works, as Paramount is looking, of course, to expand the Star Trek universe.
Which is dope. If I watch it, given what I've heard of it, if it is in fact like a CW style show, the only reason I'll be watching it is for this show, because that style of show is not for me. But like, I'm also happy to be living in an age where like there's a Star Trek show on, and I'm just like, you know what? I got enough Star Trek. I don't need this one.
It also really depends on how much of that they do, right? Because you would say The 100, for example, is probably a show that like you would think is something like that.
Yeah, Gary, you wouldn't have watched The 100 until I was like, I'm going to try The 100. I'll see how it is. I'm like, oh my God, this show is amazing. Gary, you have to watch it. And he's like, I'm not sure. Right? It was really good.
So, like, sometimes it might be in a genre, but not actually, like, it could be something that kind of exceeds those expectations.
Yeah, well, and like I said, even if I don't like it, like even if I don't like, I'm not that sort of hater that's like everything Star Trek has to be catered to me. Like,
fair.
Even if I don't like it, and if I do, like, dope, like, great, I will, and I'll certainly give it a shot. But even if I don't like it, like, I'm happy that audience has a Star Trek for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it will allow a different audience of new Star Trek fans to kind of get involved in Star Trek and come onto new shows.
It's a gateway drug.
It's a gateway drug. In fact, it's just like Prodigy is a gateway drug, right? Yeah. So new offshoot Starfleet Academy in development. Series is set among College of Cadets mentored for leadership roles. We hear Absentia co-creator Gaia Violo is currently working on a take for the project, so they're still pitching. With Star Trek spin-off Section 31 starring Michelle Yeoh expected to get a pickup soon. Yay! Which I told Darcy I am skeptical about, but we'll see. Apparently, the news is out there that it's going to happen soon.
Or at least there'll be a formal update soon.
Yeah. The hope is to get it going next year. TCA executive session, Nicole Clements, president, Paramount Plus original scripted series, noted that Section 31 was still in the works and she expected news soon. And Kurtzman confirmed the latest growth spurt to the Trek first to deadline. Revealed there was another one besides Section 31, but he wanted to keep tight-lipped about the new series. They have even more shows in the Star Trek universe. I think we have some fantastic offerings in our slate, and I think you may see a few more very curated editions coming.
Yeah. Like, oh, that sounds really exciting. We are in abundance of Star Trek right now.
Yeah,
I'm here for
yeah,
it.
there was a discussion and one thing that said that they seem to be going in sort of along the Marvel route. So
Yeah,
yeah,
which is like,
very interesting.
few smaller seasons, but a more diverse lineup. Like, I think is the way to go. Like, most of the Marvel shows are one season, one and dones. I think there was a rumor that Loki's getting, well, Loki ended on a cliffhanger. So Loki's getting a second season, but so far Loki's the only Marvel show we know is getting a second season.
Mhm.
Like, they're one and dones. They're like, here's the story we have to tell. Here's 10 episodes of it. Enjoy. This character will come back somewhere else.
Yeah, and the rumor is apparently they were supposed to start filming Section 31 in May 2020, but COVID delayed it.
Okay.
So they are prepped to start filming in the future. Like, pre-production is done.
And so, like, Michelle Yeoh's not keeping busy. Like, Michelle Yeoh has other show in the works, and
She's always gonna have work.
Everything all at once, I think it's called.
Yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once. She's in Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Witcher Blood Origin, the Avatar sequels, and Crazy Rich Asian sequels, of which there are 2.
And presumably she's coming back for Shang-Chi too, whenever that starts filming.
Yeah, and if there's Avatar sequels, that means there's 3 more.
3 more,
Yeah.
2 more.
2 more.
I thought there was 5.
Avatar only had 2 books, and then 4 books of Korra.
No. Avatar. She's on the James Cameron Avatar.
There's 5
He was
of those.
only ever planning a trilogy, so there's 2 to come.
I thought he was
there's
doing
5.
4
There's
now,
5.
or 5. There's
going to be
5.
Yeah.
There's 5. So she's done.
There was the original and 4 fucking sequels.
Dude.
And I'm as big as a sci-fi nerd I am, as big as a Michelle Yeoh fan I am, I think I'm seeing these ones out. Like, we haven't seen much from it, but what little we have seen
it wasn't as bad a movie as I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be really bad, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be terrible, but I was like, it is the magical white boy story. There's nothing around that. There's no getting around that. Like,
it's vaguely anti-native.
It's not even vaguely anti-native.
Well, the reason why I say vaguely is because, like, it's not about a real people. It's about blue fantasy people.
Yeah, but that's I feel like that's always a romanticization, right? Of Native people, and it contributes to the idea that you don't exist, right?
Yeah,
it contributes to the idea that there's only fantasy Native people and the dead Native people, and then there are no indigenous people that exist in the world.
Avatar Rise and Dies on its special effects, and at the time that it was originally made, there was nothing else like it.
Yeah.
And now everything is like it.
Oh my god! Like, what was the show you watched? The video game show.
Oh god, no! I'm fucking.
Ready Player One?
No, god, no. Arcane.
Oh, Arcane's one of the best fucking TV shows I've ever seen in my life. Arcane's amazing.
Arcane
that artwork is beautiful.
Is so stunning. Like,
and they lean into the effects. The color palette is beautiful. Like,
most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Like, we could do an entire podcast on Arcane as well.
I'd have to watch it, but like I just feel like I would just cry because I'm just gonna cry.
You will cry. I cried during it. You will definitely.
Well,
cry during it.
I'm like ridiculous because there was this show called Fruits Basket. I don't know anybody out there knows it. I am familiar. They recently remade it. I used to watch that and I would like ugly cry. Like just like Gary's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, no, to the point I was concerned.
He would be concerned. He's like, well, "Is something wrong?" I'm like, "No, it's just so sad. His mother got rid of it, and they made him forget." And I'm like, just like
Arcane
wow.
will absolutely make you cry. Like the ending of episode 3. Not dry in the house. Everyone's ugly.
Yeah. No, I'm crying right now. My God, see, like and like from what I saw, Arcane was just so beautiful and like very impressive. Yeah, and right. Hey, Katie Leung, Cho Chang, shortchanged in Harry Potter movies. Yeah. Arcane.
Yeah.
Super Cop.
That's right.
Yep. What's her name?
Yeah. So
gay Super Cop.
Anyways, yeah, so like Michelle Yeoh's keeping busy.
Yes, she is. So she's fine. But speaking of animation, let's get to talking about Prodigy 20 minutes in. So Prodigy mid-season finale. Gary was surprised that it was mid-season. Gary's like, I thought that was the finale for the season. Finale. It is not the season finale. We have 10 more episodes coming in this season.
Of Prodigy?
Prodigy, yes.
I was surprised too.
10 more episodes. Do we know when? Sometime in 2022.
You know what? Given half an hour, I could see that making sense. Because it's actually only 10 hours of content. Really.
So 10 more episodes coming. Yep, it's 20 episode season.
Really? I thought it was 10 episodes because this whereas the last mid-season break, I was just like, I felt that was really stunted and like was a bad place for mid-season break. This feels like an ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like with an ending with a tease.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was like end of the season.
Nope. Yeah. So this is the mid-season break.
Yeah.
The second one, I guess.
Sort of. Well, we had a quarter season break and then a mid-season break, and then
we'll probably get a third mid-season break because there's
more episodes. Yeah. So I don't know when they're coming.
Maybe December.
When I don't think December. I think that was just a filler date, but we'll see when.
They might though, because right now
who knows? Like, we're pretty booked up with Star Trek for the next little while, so who really knows?
It's theoretically possible, so that we're going into the second half of season 4 of Discovery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going immediately from there into Picard. In fact, they overlap a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be shocked if there is a mid-season Picard break, and then they fill that with Prodigy.
That would make sense. That would make sense.
Well, we also have Lower Decks coming back sometime around August.
Oh yeah, so who knows? They'll fit it in somewhere. We'll figure it out. Who knows when we're coming back to it? At least we have a good place to leave things.
Yes.
But the first thing I will say is we were correct. We were right. We were right about one thing among many things. But I'm still gonna say it because it was part 1 and part 2. It is basically one episode. And the thing we were right about is Admiral Janeway. We called it. We said from the very beginning, from the first episode 1, we said Admiral Janeway, we will get real Janeway before the end of this season.
Yeah.
And we got her. We got real Janeway. Yeah. Is it good that real Janeway is coming?
I mean, we'll see what they do with her.
There's a reason that it's not so great, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But you know,
we're talking about in the fiction of if we're talking about like as a viewing audience versus within the fiction of the world, that's two different statements.
Yeah, I think it's great that real Janeway is coming in terms of as a viewer, but in terms of the plot of the world, it's not so great that real Janeway is coming.
It implies. So I guess I guess what it implies would require spoilers, so we'll get into that when we hit the episode recap.
Yeah, well, we can just go through it right now. We have a 2-episode two-part finale for the mid-season, essentially, where the crew accepts that they are Starfleet and has to go back on a mission back to Tars Lamora to free the miners and trade the ship, or supposedly trade the ship to the Diviner to free the miners, and basically, yeah.
Well, after he basically sent him a message
Yeah.
saying, if you come, I will give you the miners, give me the ship. If you don't, I'll kill all the miners.
Mhm. So they have their impossible situation, and
Which
they
Val
choose to
basically
accept
calls
it.
his own,
He calls it our Kobayashi Maru,
that's right.
Yeah.
and he is uncertain, but Gwyn gives him a pep talk.
Because the episode that preceded this story arc was the Kobayashi Maru episode.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, Gwyn gives him a pep talk, and he is able to make the decision because they all accept him as his captain right now.
Yeah.
Well, the one actually just before this was the time loop episode.
Oh, you're right. So the episode prior to that was the Kobayashi
That's
Maru.
right.
Yeah, but they did go through that, and
Recently,
he
yes.
remembers that, and he knows that it's a no-win scenario.
Yeah.
But
his entire crew wants to do the mission anyways.
yeah, the entire crew does want to do the mission because they want to save the people that they worked with. So they agree to do it.
Or would you say toiled? I would go with
Toiled, that they were enslaved with.
Yes.
And they agree to do it. Dal takes it upon himself, even though he's frightened, and he's frightened of losing everyone. And that's the primary thing. And losing Gwyn was a big thing for him as well, I think.
Yeah.
And so they go to do it, and Janeway tells them that they are truly Starfleet because they're going on an impossible mission to help people against incredible odds. And that's what I said was a real Michael Burnham move. Right there, which is like, people are in trouble and they need our help, and it's impossible, and we have to make a plan that will get us out of it that's ridiculous and relies solely on our wits. Sounds like a Michael Burnham move to me.
I mean, to be fair, this is like the core of Star Trek, right?
It is. Gary said it's a James Kirk
Right,
move
yeah,
too, right?
Yeah, like James Kirk would do it. Picard would do it, although there'd be more whinging on Picard's part.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Dal had to whinge a little bit. He was like, "I'm afraid" and stuff, but you know, he's a teenager, and what's Picard's excuse?
And Picard would be like, there are protocols here, and we have to follow the protocols. But Picard would eventually come to the conclusion that protocols be damned, and he'll do the right thing. He just has to go through that thought process first.
Yeah,
whereas,
and Michael and Kirk are fuck the protocols.
Yeah, and like
people.
Janeway is a bit of a harder one because like Janeway does some morally questionable things. So does Cisco, but I think with Cisco,
she'll talk it out. Like she'll basically be like, "Give me a reason why we shouldn't do this thing."
Yeah. Cisco is very much do the right thing, dude.
Yes, but he will have a speechifying moment where he tells you why this is a good thing to do and why they are a bad person.
Well, that's awesome. I like that though. Yeah.
But he likes to do that. Like, he's got to pontificate.
I enjoy that. I felt like Dal almost was going to hand it over to Gwyn. I felt like for a second he was going to say he couldn't do it, and Gwyn needed to make the decisions.
I am surprised that Gwyn isn't the captain. I mean,
we see why now.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I get why she wasn't at the start because she was literally their enslaver.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, actually, Gwyn isn't the captain because the reason that you've brought up in the past, Darcy, is that she needed to atone for what she did.
Yeah.
And when they do get to Tars Lamora and the Diviner tries to change the deal that he made, Gwyn finally does that thing that you've been waiting for her to do. and offers to go and makes the negotiation when the diviner wants to take Gwyn. She says, if you give them the ship and let them go, I will go with you.
Yeah.
His existing ship. The
Yeah.
DS9 or
Yeah.
And of course they are double crossed because of course they were like that was obviously that was going to turn out. But they also knew that they were going to get double crossed, and
they all planned for it. Yes.
They had planned their own double cross in that inevitability.
Well, it's not a double cross if you've been double crossed. At that point, it's like, well, you're not playing fair. So
yeah.
You just plan for cheating. But
Yeah.
I mean, this is the great thing that they planned for that, but also Gwyn was given the opportunity to really make up for that. Even though they knew that, you know, they were going to get her in the end and everything would work out, or hopefully it would work out. They didn't know that for sure. She had the opportunity to say, like, no, I didn't do anything. This is my opportunity to do something and make this right.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was good. So Gwyn has even double crossed her dad and programmed so all of his programming is locked out.
Yeah.
So
that was great.
we think that Janeway has been Hollow Janeway has been reprogrammed by the diviner, but in fact it was a sneaky time disguise, and Gwyn has reprogrammed everything, so her dad is locked out, and Janeway is not only not reprogrammed, but able to physically interact with the environment, because that's how good Gwyn is.
So I don't know when we'll have cons again. Like I know in America they're doing cons, but in like Canada all cons have been canceled since the start of COVID. I don't know when they're going to come back, but when cons come back, Goth Janeway is going to be a favorite cosplay. I guarantee.
Oh my god, yeah, like Vaunacott Janeway.
She looks so amused.
Yeah.
Like the depiction.
Yeah.
Looks so amused that immediately when it happened, I was like, oh, she's not actually been controlled.
Oh, you thought she wasn't controlled because she's like, haha, this is like fun.
Yes.
I'm like evil Janeway.
Yeah, she had this kind of bemused quality to her that I immediately took to mean, okay, this is a whole trick.
100%.
Because she's not like arguing with him or like like stone cold.
Yeah, exactly. She's really compliant.
I kind of read that as just as she was having fun with the role. That was
that's what Gary was saying. I think that she was entertained by it.
Yeah.
No, I meant Kate Mulgrew was.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's what I mean. It came through in the portrayal enough, even though she's playing a hologram, that I picked up on it and was like, "Oh, this is a whole ruse." I see.
I also enjoyed that Rock had an opportunity to use her newfound skills
as an engineer. Yeah,
as an engineer when I
laughed out loud at that
when Jankum had to admit that maybe he should hold the door and Rock should fix the engine because she had a suggestion that he did not understand.
And a completely like technical one too, right?
Yeah, and they used, I enjoyed also that they used Murph's indestructibility to hide the proto drive in Murph.
Yeah.
And then disguise Murph as Zero.
That was great. Because, at one point I was like...
Gary was like, at one point when they destroyed the atmosphere for the planet, and they were all floating away and pretending to be upset. Gary was like, "Where's Murph?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "I don't actually know where Murph is. Maybe he's still on the ship. Maybe he's gonna do something."
Yeah, we didn't know what was going on.
We didn't know.
He was part of a whole ruse.
He was. It was a very good ruse.
Whole level of like psyops going on.
And Murph was actually involved in Rock's solution for restarting the engine. That double crossing.
Murph was indestructible.
Yeah, because Murph just was used the protostar. They just hooked Murph up to the drive to jump it.
For a two-parter, it was very good at giving everyone a moment for them to kind of shine, even if it was like.
Even Murph just swallowed the protostar. I mean, they needed Murph to do that to get through,
and temporarily became part of the engine.
Yeah,
or even Jag.
Jankum.
Jankum just acknowledging that Rock should be the one who goes and fixes things.
Yeah.
Well, he
I think if anyone did get shortchanged, it was Jankum. Jankum's the only one who didn't have like a really strong like character. I mean, I guess he did in that he was the one who acknowledged that like he's not the best for this, but he didn't get a moment to like.
He did a good job holding that door against the spider bots.
Yeah. Oh, against the Watchers. Yeah.
Yeah, like he really threw down well because Rock looked like she might get overwhelmed by them. He at least was able to hold the door while she took care of the engine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but even in contrast, Dal was a capable captain.
Yeah.
Like helped them execute the plan.
Because like Jacob's skill is as being an engineer, and he got out engineered.
True. That is true. I'm wondering also where that's going to put him at this point because
that's been my big wondering, like where that's going to deal with him.
He's been piloting, I think.
This is true.
So he may pilot the ship because I think he's been piloting more than Rock or anybody else.
They may also do a switch, and they may make him security.
Yeah, that might make sense too.
Dahl also has his engineering moment when he realizes the bracelets that are worn by the miners. The fact that could be turn them into universal communicators.
Yeah, can use them so they can coordinate, and the Kachin comes back.
Yes, which was nice, and also all the miners started getting to talk to each other, which was highly amusing, just for people who are like,
I have all these feelings I want to express. The miners wanting to tell each other they're in love, and he's like, "That's great, but you need to go to the ship so you don't die."
Yeah, Dal, that is. Please, let's evacuate.
Yeah, but I was so happy that they brought the Kachin back. And she was the leader of the resistance, and the one who
the captain of the ship that they took.
Yeah, she's the captain of the ship, and she took out Dreadnought, which is the greatest thing. Dal allowing them to communicate with the universal translator in their bracelets that used to be their oppression. Allowed them to coordinate, take down Dreadnought, and then she's like that shot where it's like chink.
Oh, her claws, yeah.
I'm like, you get him.
Yeah, no, I really like the part as well. I like the fact that like the key to overcoming their suppression was collaboration.
Yeah, it was really great. Like he needed them to work together to really for them to be able to do it. And even Janeway at the end is like, it'll be hard for them to learn how to crew a ship, but something tells me from my crew they'll be just fine.
Well, that sequence though, when they were escaping it, like initially I thought they were jumping into escape pods, like life pods. But then I realized it's actually part of how the ship works.
I think it was that, and I think there were gun ports too.
Probably.
Yeah. Like I think they were getting ready to fight the Protostar if they had to. So that was pretty cool. I was very happy about that. And one of the biggest surprises I thought was we finally got to see what Zero is, which may leave us with more questions than answers. Really,
we don't really know what they are yet, but we got a hint.
But that was very like into the mouth of madness.
Because the diviner, it looked like the diviner was going to, win in some way, and Zero was just like, "No, I'm not. You made me hurt people. I'm not going to let you hurt anyone anymore. I'm going to show you what I really am," and became a ball of blue flame.
Well, light.
Blue light. White, blue flame. Like it was just, and
apparently just perceiving them drives you mad. Like a bit
and Dal had the presence of mind somehow. I don't know if Zero.
I'm sure they warned you. This was a plan.
This was the plan. Yeah. Okay, this was the plan. But Dal had Gwyn look at him, but Gwyn saw Zero's reflection in Dal's badge.
Yeah, the communicator. Yeah,
and
which is a great like.
The
communicator being a reflective surface.
And so they made her go mad, and now Zero is racked with guilt for harming her.
Gwyn does at least partially recover from that. Like she's
Yes.
she's catatonic, but by there's a brief montage of her recovery, and she's functional by the end of the episode. And she's back in her post
But
on the
she
bridge.
she
but
can't remember the incident,
she
and
can't-
that's the big thing.
You probably can't remember anything her father told me about how they saved their people. And also she has like a electronic piece on her head now.
And she can't remember the key thing that her father told her.
Yes.
With the two big things is that he traveled back in time.
Yeah.
To try and save their people because he believes first contact with the Federation is what destroyed their people because it threw them into civil war.
I have
which
to say,
is
no,
go ahead.
Finish your thought.
I was going to say, which is, I would say, probably not entirely their fault, but probably someone's fault at the Federation for picking the wrong time politically to initiate first contact. Like the situation was not a good time for that, though it wouldn't be entirely the Federation's fault.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think it was the Federation's fault per se, but like he laid down some very specific words, and he basically, so what drove their people to civil war was specifically their position on the Federation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that there were people who were in favor. Sorry, go ahead. No.
But specifically, he said that like there were people who felt that the Federation were an assimilist organization, which they are, and that joining the Federation would effectively be a form of self-cultural genocide. Or there were people who thought that the Federation was the way forward. And I have to say, of all the shows to really dig into this question, I did not expect Prodigy to be the one.
No. Well, and also it can be read as them being isolationists. Like that's another kind of position or read to take on like the decision and like the situation on the ground.
But it depends because I mean there is an argument for that because I mean any multinational, multi-planet, whatever organization you join with the express understanding that they're going to be, you know this as political science student, right? There's going to be express things that you have to like live by, and adopt certain rules, adopt certain laws, and
or customs practices.
Yeah, and less powerful. By whatever means power is determined in that society, less powerful or states will have less ability to resist those things or
force structures like we even saw in
structural adjustment, things like that. Like
in Canada, right?
It'll happen. You look at South America and Central America as an example, right? You look at it happens with indigenous communities. It happens all around the world. So the less power you have, the less ability you have to determine for yourself what your laws are.
Yeah.
So like obviously as a kids show, and it doesn't really doesn't go deep into it. It just kind of it's like this is his motives, and then kind of leaves it at that. But it was far more than I expected from Prodigy of all shows. The show for like 12-year-olds.
Before we go on, I did want to ask with Gwen and the decision to erase part of her memory.
Mm-hmm.
For as a storyteller, that's kind of hand of God, kind of Deus Macha. You come in basically, or like, I've got the story here. Now we need to rewind that because I have to undo the information somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll come back to it. Like I don't think. I think as part of her recovery, she'll remember it. Like,
sure. I just wondered, did it feel heavy-handed to anyone else?
It doesn't feel heavy-handed because the other part of it is coming right back, which is that her father put a code into Protostar that makes it a weapon.
Yes.
That when it encounters any other Federation ship, it'll turn them against each other.
Yeah. But I mean, is it heavy-handed to now remove that information from her and force the meeting which you like as the audience we know means that they're going to bring the virus to the Federation.
Not if they
Because
do
they
it
don't
immediately. I think that's just dramatic. I think
Well, yeah,
I
we'll have to
think-
see where they go from here with it, because I think it can be heavy-handed. I think it could just be dramatic. We'll have to see what they do.
I think what is more difficult is that neither Gwyn nor her father seem to be in the position to remember what's happening with their planet.
Well, now here's the other thing about her father, right? Like having him go through this experience with Zero, again from like storyteller's purpose, this means he could become ultra evil, like crazy time evil.
Actually,
to the point that everyone is like, oh my god, we have done even worse.
But this is the question too: is he acting? Like,
I don't think he's acting.
Oh, you don't think he's acting? No, that would take away from the power that Zero
also,
has.
Yes.
No,
also,
you have to like underscore that. If Zero did something, you have to say they have the power to like do whatever they did, you know.
But it's one of those, I think you may have opened Pandora's box and unleashed something far worse than
Yeah, I don't think he's gone.
Oh
The
god,
Diviner.
No.
They abandoned him on the planet. Someone's going to go find him.
Yeah. No, when they did that, I'm wondering if Mama Ferengi is gonna show up and be like, "Yay!
Yeah, that Ferengi
My
lady.
private friend, let's go get our kids."
Yeah, Del's guardian
Worst
slash
parents ever.
slave
Del-
dealer.
Del's treacherous mother.
Yeah, who sold him into
That's right.
slavery.
Worst
Yeah,
step parents ever.
worst step parents ever. Well, I mean, the Diviner is really her dad, technically.
So what? This is one thing we didn't really figure out. We didn't really get what her relationship to the Diviner is.
Clone. I'm firmly of clone opinion.
But clone, but like
that's where I'm going, but like we don't know for sure. Like, is she his daughter? Is she his clone? Is she like
dialogue from when she first escaped and robot dude was like, "Do we want to make another?" Right? Like
in Killjoys, right? Like she called her daughter, right? The lady called her daughter, and she was a clone.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's a whole discussion you have.
Wolverine calls X-23 his daughter as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all clones. They're clones. They're kid clones.
But he specifically says progeny, and I find that to be like, or
Gemini.
is she perhaps a genetic gestalt of like the survivors of her people? Like, there's a lot of things she could be, and the word
Smith,
prodigy leaves a lot of it up in the air.
Will Smith, when Gemini, they do sibling, because his opinion is my clone is of the same material as my parents.
Mhm.
So we're actually.
I don't know.
brothers.
Yeah, I don't know what she is.
Yeah, like it's not answered. I'm sure it will be at some point, but
Yeah.
I'm surprised they've gone this long without answering it.
I don't even know like
you
why
don't need
they
to, though.
made her specifically still.
Yeah.
Like there
He-
was
he needed
it's
a
been
backup for some reason.
but it's been really vague
Yeah.
about the whole thing. So
Yeah, but we don't
So,
know
like-
his end plan too, right? Like he's only divulged a little bit because Gwen even demanded it in this episode. She's like, "You're gonna tell me," and he tried not to get away with telling her nothing again,
mhm,
right? And she's like, "That's not gonna cut it. You gotta tell me."
mhm.
But I don't think he's divulged, even like a
Yeah,
percentage of what he's up to.
yeah. I think what he did say is true, but I don't
Yes.
think he like.
We don't know the full machinations of how that's gonna
Yeah.
unfold, right?
Mhm. No, and I think that's something that's coming up.
Like
So-
Chakotay. where the
yeah,
hell is he,
exactly,
right?
exactly. Because
This
that
is
that
one
is
thing I was wrong about.
that is one thing that we noticed from when we saw Admiral Janeway is that they decided to go to Starfleet. Great. Once Gwyn is healed, everybody's ready, everything's fixed up. They decide that they're going to Starfleet. So they set a course to Starfleet, but also Janeway has been tracking on her ship Protostar warp signatures.
Yeah.
So now that they found 3, they've set a course for the last
'Cause
signature.
Now they can triangulate.
Yeah, so they're going to the last known location of the protostar, and she said, Chakotay, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
So we now know that Chakotay is missing.
He's on
So
a moon
which I kind of
somewhere.
already figured. This is
Mhm.
actually one of my predictions that was wrong was I thought we'd get some sort of definitive answer as to what goes on with Chakotay in this episode.
You said by end of season, though.
But you did say by end of season, so we still have 10 more episodes.
I did think this was going to be the end of season, but I guess not.
No, so you're actually given a reprieve.
We still have time. And there's is Dreadnought's head still on the Protostar?
Yes, I told you I would have melted that down.
Yeah, I know. I've still just got it kicking around there, so I don't think he's gone either.
No, yeah, no.
Something.
I think Dreadnought's not gone.
No.
I still think Dreadnought is tied to Chakotay in some way. Like maybe like Chakotay's neural patterns are in Dreadnought or something like that.
Possible.
So coming up next 10 episodes to end the season, we've definitely got another plot arc coming. We've got whatever happens when they see a Federation ship, because Gwyn can't remember that unless it suddenly comes up before they come into range.
She had a moment.
Yeah, well, if they come into communication range, she might remember. I don't know. What else do we think that they're gonna see? Solana, the Vaunicott homeworld.
Oh yeah.
Do we?
I think they're gonna get there. I think they're gonna get there, but I wonder because, like, for me, like the whole time travel thing always becomes is his events the thing which causes Starfleet to go to the planet and cause first contact?
Yeah.
Right?
That's all where I was going.
Is he the prime mover in the events that cause this whole business?
Yeah, you gotta wonder.
So that's why I feel like they're probably going to end up there. Because I would do that. I would for sure make my villain like, oh my god, I've ruined my own planet. I'm a monster.
Yeah. Also, are we going to see the miners again? Probably.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Probably they're going to come to the rescue at some point. I'm
universe.
sure.
I thought that Catechin would end up part of the crew.
You never know. But now she's got her own ship, so
Yeah, I don't
It should be a demotion for her.
she's the captain. Captain.
Like she's now the captain of like effectively a generation ship. So yeah, like her joining the Protostar would be a step down.
It's also a freaking dreadnought. It's massive.
She's the most adorable captain in the universe.
True, right?
I mean, they
imagine
did
people
say,
who see this thing rolling and be like,
"Oh my god!" And then this
like,
kitten comes up. Hello.
Like they did establish. We didn't see it, but they did establish she was the one leading the rebellion. So
yes,
yeah, but like,
you called that.
Yeah,
you had actually said that.
No, yeah. You mentioned that she was. Yeah,
called it. It was stated in episode 2.
Yeah,
she was the one behind the.
No, she had a little. There was a little like picture that was like she was like wanted for.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
She's on a wanted poster.
Yeah.
So,
it was super cute.
So we didn't get to directly see it, but like for sure, like that's why she got to be captain, because she was like they captured her, then enslaved her, and instantly, like within like a day, she was already starting rebellion.
Yep, totally. It was great.
So, any other questions? I guess we want to project or.
Well, what else? Is there anything else you see coming up?
No, I don't. I like not from what we haven't already discussed. Like obviously, there at some point they're going to go to.
We know Chakotay's going to show up.
Obviously there'll be more with Chakotay. They will obviously meet real Janeway.
The emergency medical hologram's going to show up.
Yeah,
for sure.
Fun.
Yeah, I would like to see emergency medical hologram.
Could you imagine how different a show this would be if it was the Doctor instead of Janeway?
Oh my god!
But they could have great conversations.
They might be dead by now.
Remember when I was in charge, Voyager?
They could be dead.
Tough spot.
Like straight up, they were not survive. Like 100%. So actually speaking, so we'll be looking back at Prodigy whenever it shows back up.
Yep.
But looking forward a little bit to Discovery and to the Starfleet Academy show. Something I forgot to ask that crosses over to Disco and Starfleet Academy. Do we think Tilly will go to Starfleet Academy.
Well, you had said the actor though
that
had
makes a lot
mentioned
of sense.
she will be back.
Yeah, she'll be back, but like Starfleet Academy is not starting anytime soon.
Oh,
It
yeah.
would not start shooting till next year,
Well,
right?
if it's
I had assumed that Starfleet Academy show would be set roughly around the same time as Picard, but you're right. There's no reason that it needs to be set then. It could be
No, it
set
could be
9
set
years in the
anytime.
future.
Yeah,
anytime,
and that would be a really good time to set it actually if they set it in Disco's time
Yeah.
period,
Yeah,
because they're just restarting the academy, right? Like
Yeah.
it would be a whole new kind
and
of.
they did do an entire episode of Tilly teaching cadets.
That's
Mhm.
right.
So
And they
like,
have a whole bunch, and they have Adira who kind of could use.
yeah, because
Starfleet Academy.
You're right. Adira's
Mhm.
also leaving. Adira's also like young enough that that they should have been in the academy.
Yeah, Adira could probably hang
So,
out
yeah,
with
this
some people their own age.
Now
You
you know
know?
what? Now that you bring up, this is a good base for a Starfleet Academy show. And if it has Tilly in it, then I'm definitely gonna watch it because I love Tilly.
Mm. I mean, I'm not sure if it's what people would be expecting.
Well, she did leave to go be a teacher. Like that is what she did. So it's the setup.
It would be a great setup, I think personally. I think more people would be expecting it in the Picard timeline or in the,
Yeah, well,
in the, Prodigy Lower Decks sort
Yeah.
of timeline, but I think it would be a good way to start out with established characters.
yeah, no, like this. I think now that you have introduced this idea to me, it seems very likely that is where they're going.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is just because it is in this far, far, far future. I mean, like that really matters for Star Trek. It's just a timeline that people are not as accustomed to.
Yeah.
That would be the only thing.
Well, yeah, I think that'd be an interesting way to also explore
We're,
the
on
like.
time.
I didn't like that Discovery was a prequel. I don't like prequels for Star Trek. I think Star Trek, maybe with the exception of Enterprise. Enterprise, I think, could have been a good idea had they really committed to the prequel and not done the time travel storylines. Because the idea of like, here's how we went from being what we are now to the like more optimistic world of
They can't
Starfleet.
seem
I think that's
to
an interesting
help
story that
themselves.
could be told.
No, they love a time travel
Yeah,
storyline,
no,
Gary.
I know.
They can't help themselves. Even in Prodigy, they've got a
Yeah,
time travel
yeah,
storyline.
yeah.
Yeah, this is Star Trek.
Doesn't
It's all
always
time
It's
travel
Star
now.
Trek. No, Gary just has a pet peeve about time travel.
Look,
I agree.
Star
agree.
Trek, the first of the new installation,
Mhm.
is probably the one that I find like one of the ones I have the most trouble with the time.
But the whale one?
No, the whale one, I kind of I dig a little nostalgia, etc.
Mhm.
No, I mean in when they did the reset recently,
Mhm.
did all the new J.J. Abrams.
No, yeah, Chris
Oh.
Pine.
The
yeah.
first one was Spock and all of that business.
I just love Chris Pine though.
The fact that red matter
Mhm.
comes from Alias. Is
Oh,
showing
red
up.
matter!
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I'm
just
like,
like-
no!
It's so
Oh, I
No!
didn't know that was an Alias thing because
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, he
Completely.
loves J.J. Abrams is such a fucker.
Yes.
He just loves to use shit
His Easter
from
eggs
all
are-
like Easter eggs
Well,
from
that-
like all these other fucking
Yeah,
shows.
that
I
I
found
knew.
it so disruptive. Like,
Yeah, so
It
red
just
matter
broke it
red
for
matter is like basically like fucking Sydney, like she comes across this fucking spinny ball red thing like so many times it almost kills Vaughn. Like
it's made from water.
So
but-
does that mean that Alias is in the Star Trek universe?
yes,
Yes.
And
In-
does
in
that
the
mean that
J.J.
Lost is in the
Abrams-
Star Trek universe?
Yeah.
probably. Probably it all is. Cloverfield is in the same universe.
Yep.
It's all in the same fucking universe. It drives me
If
crazy.
it's an Abrams
God.
product.
Yeah, that's why Greg Grunberger's in it. Heroes is in the same universe.
Yep.
Heroes.
All
Oh,
of them.
what a disappointment that
I
show was.
know. After
Yeah.
season
I never
one-
watched it. I never
Oh,
watched it.
oh. Okay.
Season one.
Season 1 is
is so good. So good. Like superhero
Yeah,
magic,
that's what I've
like the power. It's so good. And then it's completely.
you can just
derailed
watch that and then
almost
pretend there was
immediately.
nothing
It's
else.
like Prison
Yeah.
Prison Break's
Well, I
another
mean,
one
it-
per season. Beautiful.
Mhm.
Everything else garbage.
The dude from Heroes was the writer. Is one of them is Jeff Loeb, and Jeff Loeb is really good at one very specific type of superhero story and awful at everything else.
Which dude?
Sorry, go
Jeff-
back. You froze for a second.
We all froze.
Oh,
Everything
okay.
froze.
Jeff Loeb. So Jeff Loeb is the dude who did.
Oh, Jeff Loeb. Yeah. Okay.
He's very good at a very, very specific superhero story, and terrible at everything else. Like when he took over, and eventually they gave him when Mark Millar left the Ultimate Universe stuff, so the Ultimates, he took over, and holy fucking shit, is his Ultimate stuff bad, like awful, truly just. And like Mark Millar's got his own problems, but I liked his, at least like in high school, I liked his Ultimate stuff. I haven't revisited since high school. I don't know how I feel about it now. But at least in high school, I liked it. And then Jeff Loeb came on and ruined the whole book. And then Jeff Loeb brought one of his friends from Heroes onto Ultimate X-Men. And that Ultimate X-Men run is some of the worst comics I've ever read in my entire life.
Oh my god.
So I was just like, you know what? Fuck this show. I'm not going to watch it.
No, it was it was Oh well. Anyway. Yeah. Okay.
I also never finished Lost. Like, I think there were 3 seasons left I haven't seen yet.
It's a pretty good ending. I like it. I like it. A lot of people don't.
There's some great episodes and the later stuff too.
In retrospect, it's very good. I think. I think it on
Sawyer
binge
and Julia
viewing
is sad.
when you can
Yeah, I
watch
mean,
it. You know. It's good.
I don't think either of you have played Mass Effect, but like Mass Effect had a very, very controversial ending, and I think the Mass Effect 3 ending is fine. I don't think it's great, but I think it's a serviceable ending.
Well, the best thing that Game of Thrones did was take pressure off Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse for the Lost ending. I was joking when Game of Thrones ended; they were toasting with champagne somewhere to those guys. So they're
Yes.
like, "Thank you,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, see,
We
that-
are
that's
no
one of
longer
the-
the most hated people in television."
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
Game of Thrones is just another show I never watched.
Don't bother.
Yeah,
Don't bother.
it was to me. It looked like a lot of hype was around all the nudity, and I was just like, I can just get porn on the internet.
Well, that's HBO, really.
The
Yeah,
Hodor episode is perhaps the best one, and if you're gonna watch anything, maybe that.
That
one.
was directed by a guy who directed some of the best episodes of Lost.
Yes.
okay.
So there you go,
Other than that, you can
right?
pretty much just ignore most.
Like
of
some of
Yeah.
the like he directed the Not Penny's Boat episode.
which is a beautiful,
Yeah,
really beautiful one.
he directed that
They
one.
were very. I think you were someone said he's very good at ripping your heart out.
Yeah. Like
That's the
making
least
you
what
feel
he's in
things
for.
and then ripping your heart out.
Yeah.
He does that in
Yeah.
Alias too. He directed all of the. He's a guy named Jack Bender, and he directs all of the family episodes of Alias, where you get spy family together, and then one of them stabs the other ones in the back horribly, and or shoots them or something, and you're like, oh my god, why?
Yeah. So I shouldn't say I watched 2 episodes of I watched the first 2 episodes of Game of Thrones, and one I was like, hey, this is a rape plot.
Mhm.
Not
Oh, you have
Two.
no idea. You have no
2,
idea.
I was like, I'm bored.
The
Yeah.
source material is very rapey to the point where
Oh.
I'm like, last book I just was like, no.
Gary doped out of it.
Noped
and
out.
it
I'm like,
was
no,
just
I
like
can't do anymore.
it's
Yeah.
it's
I-
rapey.
It's a franchise I have no desire to visit.
I don't blame you. Stay
Um,
away if you can.
Yeah, the closest thing I get to it, I think, would probably be The Witcher. That's only because The Witcher had a really good video game.
The card game is fun. I'll say that, and the board game even.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's about it.
So, looking forward to Disco
Yes.
this week. Do we know what's gonna happen? I think we already discussed. We have no fucking clue.
Well, other
We
than
did this
Booker,
like we know Book is Book going to be a villain now, or is he?
Book is gonna make a decision, and another decision that's gonna be another step too far.
My favorite mad scientist is gonna do some
That's right.
stuff.
That's right.
I love that guy. He's gonna be wacky and do some things. We're gonna find out.
He's
we're gonna
be
find-
wacky and arrogant.
We're gonna wacky and arrogant. We're gonna find out. I think we'll find out what his
Well,
deal
so he
is.
does nothing
Maybe
right.
this episode, like his actual deal.
That would make sense. That'd be a logical first place to start a
Yes.
mid-season.
Yeah, because I think Book is going to be like, all right, I'm in, buddy. And then he's going to be like, actually, this is what we're doing.
I'm from another dimension.
Sorry. My name is actually Gabriel Lorca. That's my hope. That's my wish.
Pulls off a mask.
Pulls off a
He
mask.
pulls off his mask. He
Like
rips off his
Scooby-Doo
wig.
style.
He's Gabriel Lorca. Actually, I would be really happy as if his boyfriend
Now that the
was
Emperor
Prime
is
Lorca.
gone, I can reign.
If his boyfriend was Prime Lorca, I would be like, yes.
I would not be surprised if they bring Prime Lorca back at somewhere. Maybe
I need Lorca.
Maybe he can be a teacher in the
Oh my god!
in the
It'd
Starfleet
be like
Academy show.
Professor Snape. You'd
Yeah.
always be like, "Oh shit, that dude
He
just
can't be
fucking-
Professor Snape. He was
Lorca?
Lucius Malfoy.
Yes, I know. But I mean, if he's going to be a teacher, he
I'm
would
sorry.
be like Professor Snape.
Yes, yeah, I
Yeah,
know. I'm
and
just
like-
like amused by your because he can't be. I'm sorry. That just struck me as funny. Jason Isaacs, come back, please. We need you. Stop being a doctor.
Yes.
Come be an evil captain.
Is Sam really that good?
Is Sam really that good? I don't think so. You're fighting your own daughter for your job. Do you really want to be there? No. I think you want to be on Star Trek. Come on back. I think that's shot in Toronto. He must still be here.
Probably.
Jason Isaacs, if you're in Toronto, come
Come
be
on
on our
podcast.
show.
Yeah.
Come be on our show. Come be on our show. We'll talk about how great you are and how much we want Lorca to come back. We love you, Gabriel Lorca. You're the best evil captain in the world. You're actually very high on my list of top 10 captains because you weren't a bad captain.
No.
Just a bad person.
Yes.
Gabriel Lorca. That's his
Great
motto.
captain.
Motto.
Great captain.
Gabriel
Bad
Lorca.
person.
Not a bad captain. Just a bad person. All right.
I think we can call it there.
I honestly, I would not be shocked if he shows up in Strange New Worlds.
I would love that too.
Because Strange New Worlds, because that's the correct timeline.
Mhm.
And Strange New Worlds is like from the. Do we want to show the poster for Strange New Worlds for anyone who hasn't seen it?
Sure, yeah, let
The
me bring
poster
it
for
up. Let me bring it up. One sec.
The poster for it's dope. Like I got some concerns about the cowboy imagery
have
because
mixed
of, like,
feelings.
colonialism, but
Yeah,
But
yeah,
also-
that's why I have mixed feelings.
it looks like I mean, Star Trek always has had Western influences to it, so it's hard to like. This is why you can always have to sort of. This is why I'm constantly criticizing Star Trek for its colonialism because it has a lot of Western. It's like a combination of a Western and a submarine movie set in space.
It's very much Western because it's the frontier mentality.
It's right. It's right there in the frontier.
Yeah, exactly. It's the final frontier.
Yeah.
Our mission is to explore strange new worlds, seek out new life, new civilizations to
where no-
subjugate.
Where no one has gone before, but there's always people there.
Yeah, exactly. Where no one has gone before, but there's always people there. So who is, this is the question. Where no one has gone before, so who counts as a person and who counts as no one?
Yeah.
Right?
So, but,
like, what are we talking about here? So
should have been no man.
it was no man, Gary, but now it's no one because colonialism is equal opportunity.
I think it's
You
the other way
laugh.
around.
You
I
laugh.
think it started where no man. I think it started off where no one has gone before. and
I thought it
became
was no
one.
man, and it became no one
No,
because it was like
Yeah, I think it has always been no one, right?
I thought it was no man. I thought James. I thought what's his face Shatner said no man. I don't know. You'd have to look that up to be sure.
I
Like,
am looking it up
there's probably
right
the script.
now.
I'm opening this
Um,
image.
Okay, so where
Anyway.
no one has gone before is a TNG episode. The quote is where no man has gone
Yeah.
before.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we had to girl boss our colonial. I'm sorry. No, why am I apologizing? Everyone here agrees with me, except maybe people who are watching. We had to girl boss our colonialism a little bit and say that where no one has gone before because it's equal opportunity.
See, I always just took man to be human.
Man to be, well, it is human. It's humankind. So
Yes.
I mean, like, right, but it's no.
Which is also wrong.
Well,
because
no,
the Federation is a allegiance.
Well, I would say Roddenberry probably argued it was humankind.
Yes, but it shouldn't be because the Vulcans were already on board. So it's not just humans.
the Vulcans, the Tellarites. There were
a whole bunch
the
of
Andorians.
other races who were out there already.
All right, so here we go. Here is the Strange New Worlds poster. There we are. And let's see if I can zoom in a little.
Yeah,
oh my goodness, that's what I intended to. Let's just keep it there.
But is that not like, is the horse not just being exchanged for the motorcycle?
No, this is like a Western.
Yeah, I know. But is the motorcycle what they've been using in all the Abrams movie, not just an analogy of the horse?
Well, modern westerns, absolutely use motorcycles now.
Well, he's saying, is it not just swapping for Jim Kirk, like Chris Pine on his motorbike, right? In Iowa, blah blah blah.
Maybe, but I think what we're seeing here is a direct, like, as a mission statement that's just going to be a bit pulpy.
Well, this says the frontier is waiting, right? Like this is calling. This is directly like referencing. Western tropes.
Like the colonial imagery of Westerns.
It's also much more of a throwback to the original, right? Because the original series, there were a number of times they ended up on horseback.
Look at the font, right? This is literally the old font.
That's true.
Right here. This is literally the old show font. So they're like, this is everything they're trying to do here. They've even got the old Enterprise. So everything they're trying to do here is saying this is for you, the old school Trekker. Yeah. If you love old Star Trek, this is the thing.
Yeah. Which I'm down for.
I am down for it, but I have mixed feelings about
because the original stuff is not great.
I have mixed feelings about the frontier kind of aspects.
Most of it's not.
Okay, some of it is, but most of it's not. Like, that's the thing.
I mean, this is a beautiful poster. Someone did a great Photoshop job here, because that's what it is. But I mean, it looks great.
As a fan of just straight up pulp, like, if you want to do an update of how pulpy those old Star Trek episodes were with like modern sensibilities and modern special effects, I am absolutely 100% here for it, even if I do have concerns about how it's going to address the colonial themes.
Yeah, and we can see, I mean, we've seen a willingness to critique these things.
Yeah.
Certainly in other Star Trek shows. So, I mean,
on the showrunner.
It's not impossible to believe that won't happen.
Yeah. It really depends on whoever's in charge in the vision.
It really does. Because as much as I love Lower Decks, I don't see Lower Decks critiquing these sort of things. But like Prodigy did.
Yeah.
And I mean, Picard is certainly
around
saying a lot of things that are unexpected and people are not always happy with.
The ending of season 1, where there's like, you have no place at this table. You are the oppressor. Shut up. When I told Picard that, I was like, that was great.
It was very interesting. There's a lot of very interesting things about acknowledging that Starfleet is basically part of the military-industrial complex, like it is the military-industrial complex of the future. How engaged it is with state power, that it is state power.
I'll give Enterprise, because they do wrestle with like what it is. Like, security is in military, like they do kind of struggle with like, what's that identity? What are we trying to be?
Yeah, and I mean,
which they revisit in Discovery.
And in Enterprise season 3 and 4, like, it's the point where they're like, okay, Earth has been attacked. You're not a military vessel, but you are now carrying soldiers. And there's a whole separate there's a whole separate faction on the Enterprise that is not part of the crew, that is called the Makos, that are like a military attaché who
Yeah, it's like
does
special
not answer.
forces.
Pardon?
It's
Yeah.
like special forces got dumped on their
Yeah.
ship,
And
right?
and so part of the tension is that like Archer has a tension with this military leader who is on his ship.
Yeah.
You know,
And Enterprise gets good towards the end. Like once they drop the time travel stuff, it becomes a good show.
See.
you know, it'll be interesting actually to see Strange New Worlds and kind of where they take this. And how they deal with things, because it's interesting to see how differently Starfleet is treated now, and kind of acknowledging the fact that Starfleet is the military, that Starfleet is separate from the state in most cases, because in a lot of the Star Trek of the past is just sort of treated as this sort of military state mashup, like combination of the United Nations and like, huh?
Are you talking about in Discovery?
In Discovery, well, I'm talking about in Star Trek of the past, it was treated as this sort of military state mashup, but in Discovery and Picard and other things, it's acknowledging much more that it has a military function. It can be manipulated, and it's interesting to see that when you have where it's created the US going into like, I don't know, 20 plus years of war, and having a large part of the population like extremely, disillusioned with that and with serving, right?
Discovery even has a break with Earth, the hierarchy in Earth going more militaristic and basically pulling its people back and out. And the Federation having to go off on its own and is completely like, it's, even though they're talking about Vulcan leaving, I think the other one that they're not really mentioning is the fact that Earth had effectively left as well. Like they'd pulled themselves up and were doing exactly what the Vulcans were doing.
Xenophobia, like really fall into that sort of insular thing, and
also without the larger context of like Vulcan was reintegrating the Romulus population into itself. Earth didn't even have that.
As an excuse, right?
Like they had another situation and they had to integrate Romulus population after like a major tragedy as well, and so it's just interesting to look at this sort of shift from this idealistic view of a military and what a military can do, and how we can have this great, like, beautiful, sciencey military that goes off and explores the world, to the shift of, even Starfleet is going to be corrupt in certain ways.
U.S. superpower, world police, right? Like,
well, yeah, it is. It's like, oh, great. Well, it's a certain ideology, but like you see challenges to this ideology of U.S. power and U.S. superpower and hegemony, as you see people in the U.S. start to question the place of the military in the world,
especially by taking the energy source, right, for their transportation, and in jeopardy, like the oil crisis.
Pulling out of Afghanistan, the oil crisis, like all of these things, like you're starting to see these anxieties about military and military conquest and their place in the world reflected in Star Trek.
Like that's not new to Star Trek, because original Star Trek had like a lot to say about like Nazism and about fascism. And Deep Space Nine was all about like Starfleet as a military institution. So it's not new to Star Trek.
It's just reflecting this current situation. It's just what I'm saying. It's interesting because Deep Space Nine had criticism, certainly, but the way Starfleet was portrayed was very different in the 90s and early 2000s, late 80s, 90s than it is right now.
And while you do have criticisms in DS9, you don't really get it in TNG. You don't really get it in Voyager.
No, not at all. It's a very idealistic view, right?
And you do get it in Enterprise, but in Enterprise it's all reflected about 9/11.
Yeah, and so you have that, and then we're in a very post 9/11, and even getting into post, Afghanistan sort
Yeah.
of situation where people are really starting and a post, superpower world where people are starting to go like, what is our place in this, and
I mean,
where is
we're
our
not
military supposed to be?
we're not a post superpower world. We're now back into a world we were in the 80s where we had two superpowers. Like
I don't
there's-
I don't know. It's
China is.
one, certainly.
China
Well,
and the US are superpowers.
The Americans
Um,
still are, just because of their
Yeah.
military.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing.
Like
Yeah.
China and the US are still superpowers. We still have superpowers. It's just we're in a place where there are now two again. And I could get into the economics of that, but no one wants to hear me go on to like an economic lesson about like how unlike Russia, China and US are financially intertwined, which Russia, China, US, like I could go on to that for like an hour, but no one wants to hear that.
Well, I mean, the point being, like, we're seeing a lot of these sorts of things reflected right now in Star Trek, and I mean that's happened in the past, but it's interesting that it's reflecting in such a sort of way that's changing the nature of kind of how Starfleet is portrayed, but also changing the nature of Star Trek shows to a certain extent.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. I mean,
Going
Stranger
forward.
Worlds could be totally retro and totally not pay attention to any of this stuff, but I would be super surprised. Yeehaw! Yeah.
I'm hoping it is retro, but I'm hoping it's retro in a deconstructionist
Just
way.
imagine cowboy hat on one of the.
I don't want the Mandalorian.
See, well, the Mandalorian. I mean, I think the Mandalorian is pretty thoughtful, actually.
Mandalorian's very good. I can't talk about Mandalorian without getting Boba Fett, which you've not seen. So.
Oh, we haven't seen all of Boba Fett. We've seen most of it, but Mandalorian is.
Did you watch the last two episodes?
Yeah, the last two we haven't seen. I think
but I know Mando is in the last episode or two or something.
He's a little bit more than in them. I'll leave it at that, but he's a little bit.
Does he just take it over?
It's my armor, bitch. I'm come for it.
Yeah. Mandalorian shows up. It's just a new season of The Mandalorian.
Oh my god!
I think Boba Fett has a combined 2 minutes in both episodes.
Wow.
You know what? I mean, I just think Boba Fett talks too much. Other than that, I mean,
I'm not complaining because I did not like the Boba Fett show. So when it decided to want to be the Mandalorian instead, I was here for it.
I mean, the only good thing I think I don't mind too much of it. I like Ming-Na Wen, and I like that what they did with the Tusken Raiders. And other than that, I'm sort of like, man, it's okay.
I don't like what they did with Tusken Raiders at all.
Oh, really?
No. It's a bunch of it's a big stack of anti-native tropes.
Really?
Yeah. I hate
Interesting, because a lot of people had some different ideas, so that's interesting about that.
They give him they're slavers. That's never reconciled with the fact that they keep slaves.
Okay.
They then give him a vision quest. They humanize him enough for him to get a vision quest from them, and then they are murdered off to like. Yeah,
that the fact that they all got killed was the part that I didn't like. I was sort of like, oh, okay, so they get, and then he gets accepted, and then they just kill them all.
They get humanized just enough so that you feel bad when they were killed off, and beyond that, their only actual purpose is to give him a vision quest. It's a bunch of fucking anti-native tropes. I really did not like. Like, I wasn't enjoying the Mandalorian, or sorry, the Book of Boba Fett prior to that, anyways. Because I just don't like its vibes, but that actually actively pissed me off.
That episode I get, the raid episode and all of that, I thought was a lot better, but I did not like that they killed him off.
Had people not told me to watch the episode where Mando shows up, I would have dropped the show because I was ready to drop it, and people were like, no, watch this episode. It's about the Mandalorian. If you want to know what's going on with Mandalorian, you have to watch. And I was like, oh, fine. This is how Disney gets you. So I watched it. I'm like, oh, this is just This is just the Mandalorian. This is just the Mandalorian season 2.5.
All right. Well, I mean, at least there's that to look forward to, because I was not impressed or unimpressed. I've been pretty meh about it.
The show gets really good. It just stops being about Boba Fett.
Yeah. I mean,
fair. I
yeah.
never really wanted a show about him anyways.
Yeah, it's sort of like at some point you're kind of like, I don't need to know about these people. I think that would be the advice I would give to Star Trek is like, no one wants a show about Q. We don't need to know that much about these people.
No.
I'm not interested.
He's
like I want to see the world. This is why I don't like. This is why I historically have not cared for prequels in the Star Trek universe. This is why I didn't like Discovery as a prequel. Star Trek should be about going forward, like thematically. Star Trek should always be about going forward. It's part of the core themes of the show. So you should never. So Star Trek. I mean, Strange New Worlds as a weird side project is cool, but for Discovery being the flagship show, like the flagship show should never have been a prequel. It should always have been about like where we're going.
That makes sense.
So like when they went 900 years in the future, I was down because like, okay, finally the show is exploring the future.
That makes sense. No, that totally makes sense. Because I mean, you can do certain things that are going back, but they are boldly going, essentially.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot more sense to do that sort of thing.
If you're always doing prequels, you're not boldly going, you're just boldly revisiting.
Yes, exactly. True. So
and once again, I don't mind that from like side projects, like I said, Strange New World as being like an offshoot show. I'm down with that for that. But the flagship 31. Show should always be about going forward.
Section 30. Well, we'll see when Section 31 is. We don't know anything.
Yeah, no, but it's another one of these ones where it feels like it's a cool little side project, but you should not be investing 7 seasons into this. It should be like a 2 or 3 season.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a little exploration about that unit. That's it.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So yeah,
all right.
That is my hot take on Star Trek.
Well, no, it makes sense, and we will be moving forward with Discovery very soon.
Yep.
900 years in the future, and seeing what's happening with Book, wacky scientist guy whose name I can't remember, but he's doing some stuff that's probably sketchy. Michael and everyone else when we find out what's going on with the big anomaly. The giant anomaly thing, which has a name that I can't remember either. My cat is shaking the entire table right now. But we're going to sign off. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll be back talking about Disco.
I will also be back on my own personal channel, A Bright Green City, this time next week to talk about politics. So if you're at all interested in politics, that's a thing I do now.
Do you have a specific topic or any guests or decided yet, or just gonna see what comes up?
Freedom Convoy, maybe.
Freedom Convoy will likely be discussed. It's native politics specifically. Like it's
native politics.
It's me and another Oglala, and me and another native dude who belongs to the Oglala Nation. We just talk about native politics.
Okay, cool. So native take on the issues on Sunday next week. And in 2 weeks, we're coming back. So definitely tune in. I will see about setting up to host that next week. So y'all can catch it on here if you don't catch it on Green's channel. So we'll see you next week, either for chatting about native issues and native politics, or in 2 weeks to chat about disco, or both. So thanks for tuning in. Nice to see everybody, and let us know what you think. You can tweet us on Twitter, or let me just scroll that by, or on Facebook or anything like that. You can talk to me on Twitch. I don't have the thing to scroll. Oh well, so be it. But yeah, talk to us. I'm at Noise Angel. Gary is at Spherewalker, and you can see Green is at Neon Green City. We're all on Twitter. And yeah, you can talk to us on Twitch, on YouTube, leave comments, whatever you need. We're here for you.
I know it's confusing, but my personal Twitch is A Bright Green City, not a Neon Green City.
So on Twitch, A Bright Green City next week, and see you in 2 weeks for Disco. And we'll see what's up with Book and Weird Scientist Guy.
Cheers.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.